Is it ever worth calling a narcissistic person out on their behaviour? Will they change their behaviour if you do call them out? And how narcissistic people tend to respond when they have been called out. People can say these responses, however, when it comes to a narcissistic person, they're usually getting called out on their behaviour, things they've actually done, such as lying, cheating, refusing to communicate, refusing to say sorry, holding grudges, seeking validation from external people rather than speaking with their own family. So this is when you are calling a narcissistic person out on the things that they have actually done, as a narcissistic person will unjustly accuse you of things you haven't done, which can naturally then put you on the defensive and say things like, that wasn't me, because it wasn't actually you. A narcissistic person needs you to be on the defensive so that you question and blame yourself, so that you react to them, so that they can feed off the emotions that you're supplying to them. We can often want to call another person out as if we were to make a mistake. We know it's not nice to be called out. However, because we care about the other person, we'd recognise that we'd hurt the other person's feelings in some way. We would then be able to communicate with that person and learn and grow together. So we often call a narcissistic person out expecting that communication with them, which you're not going to get from them, expecting that apology from them, which you're not going to get from them. They're just going to spin it round on, I'm sorry if you hadn't. I'm sorry, but if you didn't. They're going to spin that false apology round so that in somehow you're to blame, in some way you're to blame for whatever the narcissist did wrong, when you're not. It's a choice they made. It's their choice. It's who they are. Any mistakes they make are on them. So calling a narcissistic person out rarely to never goes in the ways that we would hope. Now and again, it can go in the ways that we would hope, as they will offer that false apology. They will offer to go to counselling. They will offer to change. However, it's only temporary. When someone offers these things after they've made a mistake and then they go and repeat that mistake, they're not going to learn. They're going to take advantage of your forgiveness and continue to hurt and punish you. So when we call a narcissistic person out who is perhaps cheating on us, they're going to come at us and accuse us of having trust issues, accuse us of being jealous, accuse us of being insecure, accuse us of being hung up on our past. As the narcissist is looking to break down your reality, break down your mental guard of what is actually happening and pull out your emotions, get you to protect your emotions, get you to be either open and vulnerable with them so that they can exploit your vulnerabilities, or get you to get on the defensive and guard your emotions and tell them that you're not being jealous. So they've then got you on the defensive and they can then attack you. Narcissistic people are looking to win, and they're looking to win at all costs to you. And if they can not win you over, not win you to their side, they will happily destroy your life and then leave you. When they move straight on with somebody new, we all have human emotions. However, a narcissistic person is going to accuse you of being the bitter one and the jealous one. And when anyone calls a narcissist out on this, they are going to accuse the ex of being the bitter one and the resentful one, rather than recognising that narcissist behaviour perhaps isn't the best way to go around things, and that it is actually going to hurt another person. However, narcissists don't do responsibility. They shift the blame to get away with their behaviour. If they hurt you in some way and you try to have a conversation with them about this, they're going to accuse you of overreacting. So you question your reactions to their actions rather than questioning their actions. when they say hurtful things towards you and you call them out on the hurtful things they've said to you, they're not going to recognise that they've hurt you and perhaps they shouldn't do that. They recognise that they've hurt you and know exactly how to hurt you again, and accuse you of being unable to take a joke, of being too sensitive, which is quite ironic because narcissistic people are some of the most sensitive people you can ever meet, which is why they suffer narcissistic injuries, those emotional injuries, and why they can rage out. However, as they're sensitive, they don't recognise that other people are sensitive, only in a manner to exploit other people, to criticise other people, to mock other people, because they are envious of others. So they're seeking to put other people down, to feel better about themselves, because they lack empathy and they are incredibly insensitive people. So they're going to accuse you of the one who's too sensitive rather than admit that they are insensitive. When you call them out on something that they perhaps promised to do or something that they've said, they're going to accuse you of imagining things. When you're not imagining things, they just don't want to be held accountable for the things that they have said or have done. Or when you question them about something, they might just turn around and say, what about? Either what about that friend of yours? What about your brother? What about your sister? What about when you? And this can be something 5-10 years ago, because narcissistic people hold on to grudges against others. So when you try to have a conversation with them about something in the present day, they're going to bring up the past. However, with their double standards, they will hurt you. They will promise to change. You then forgive them. They then hurt you again in the exact same way. You confront them about doing this again in the exact same way, and then they accuse you of being hung up on your past. So they're allowed to bring the past into the conversation. However, you're not. So a narcissist, to rationalise their behaviour, to justify their behaviour, they're going to say, what about when you? What about the neighbour? What about the friend? It takes you off the topic of conversation and ends up with you either defending yourself or discussing a third person that's irrelevant to the topic at hand. Narcissistic people can procrastinate a lot, and it's not a case of things going off and leaving things to the last minute and not getting jobs done. This is things that they perhaps have promised to do for you that then they got what they wanted, so that they no longer want to do it for you. Or when they have forgotten something, when they promised to pick something up and they've forgotten something and you say, oh, where's? They're just going to turn around and say, you forgot to remind me. So you're the one that's left feeling bad and taking responsibility for their forgetfulness. And as we can all be forgetful, we can forgive those who are forgetful. However, as a narcissist don't take responsibility, they usually had no intentions of getting something anyway. They're just going to accuse you of being the one with the problem for not reminding them. Or they're going to come at you and say, I'm sorry, I forgot you was perfect. So you find yourself explaining all your imperfections to them, which they're then going to use against you. They might just come at you and claim, if you hadn't, to make it feel like their behaviour is in some way your fault, when it's not. Their behaviour is on them. The only person responsible for their behaviour is their own. The only person responsible for our own behaviour is our own. Yes, we can be provoked. Yes, we have our limits. However, we are responsible for our own behaviour. We are not responsible for other people's. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether we had or had not done something. Their behaviour is on them. Not my fault. Narcissistic people fail to take responsibility. They feel entitled to do as they please. They feel entitled to exploit people, and they lack the empathy to care for those that they exploit. So any issues, they're just going to turn around and, it's not my fault, you deal with it. Or they can turn around and say, you made me do it. Again, another double standards of a narcissist is they will claim that you made them do something, yet when they provoke a reaction from you, they will claim that they're not responsible for your actions. They can't make you do anything. Yet when they've done something, you made me do it. It's the double standards of the narcissist mind, of how they can get away with things, of how they can exploit people. When it comes to people with these kinds of attitudes, that don't take responsibility for their behaviour, that hold grudges against others, that shift the blame over to other people, that lie and cheat and deceive, refuse to communicate, refuse to compromise, are highly critical of others, and refuse to say sorry. These are the kinds of people where you need to recognise that you need to create that distance from them, because the more you forgive them, the more this enables their toxic behaviour, and the less likely they are going to be willing to learn that their behaviour is toxic. The more likely they're going to learn new methods to exploit people to get their needs met. The best way to deal with a narcissistic person is to go no contact. If that's not possible, is to recognise that their behaviour is their behaviour. It's on them. It's who they are. You cannot do a single thing to change it. Only they can do that. And they only do that if there's something in it for themselves. And when they revert back to the things that they've done to hurt you in the past, they're going to keep repeating it for as long as we forgive them. It's not easy walking away from a toxic relationship. It takes an average of 7 attempts. Narcissistic people do not make it easy for you, which is why you have to safely find a safe way out. And if you cannot go no contact, limited contact and grey rock. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please add those into the comments. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.